Hey, hey, what's up? Welcome in, Zoom. Welcome in, Tim. How you doing? Oh man. Well, Apex and canoes are on the road. You're off to see the wizard. Yeah, and they are on their way to Emerald City. They're gonna rest in Indianapolis tonight, and then head out in the morning again. But they got Gimme and canoes, and everybody's packed up and in the travel mode, and everything's safe and sound. So, hey, Singularity. Hey, bud. Grab a link, brother. Come on, let's get this party started. Tim, you can grab a link too. Hey, Fuck Muffin. Come on up. It's been a hot one today, kind of. Temperature wasn't that bad, but man, humidity's been off the chart. It only got up to 86, but full sun and like 88% humidity. Dude, it's just ouch. Hey, what's up, Bill?
All right, how you doing?
Uh, Getting through it.
Yeah, good.
Got some laundry done today. Got a bunch of chores done today.
Got the rabbit breeding done today.
Yep, got that. That the last dame is good to go.
Is that what you call you call them a dame?
Yep, bucks and dames.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the males are bucks and uh, the females are dames.
And the bunnies are called kits when they're first born.
Right, you have a litter of kids. Yep. Oh man, I tell you what. Yeah, here in the next week or so, Honey should be having her kids, her litter,
Cool.
in the next few days.
Rabbit Central.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have bunnies galore come. Well, 6 months from now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what's up, Sing?
Same old, same old. What are you guys up to?
Just choring, getting the chores done.
Oh, there, I closed it. That was me.
All right, good deal.
Oh, okay.
Welcome
That
in,
was
Redneck. Go
that
ahead.
was my leaf spring. My leaf spring was broke right in the middle on my truck.
Oh wow.
So they took I took it to a shop, an actual spring company, because I've been to these guys before, and they were $200 less than what the shop where I originally took it to. So they knew what they were doing. They had it done in an hour.
Oh wow. Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm keeping the leaf springs because I think I could probably heat them up in a forge and make stuff out of them.
Weapons.
Yeah. Yep.
Heck yeah.
last summer we had to do a trailer. We had 5 tons of metal stacked on that darn thing. It was a big old flatbed with 12.5 ton or 12,500 pound axles, the duals. We had to replace a spring on one of those with that 5 tons on it. Freakiest dang thing.
Holy shit.
So I was thinking about what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to get the other set. When I get some money, I'm going to get the other spring cluster added on the other side of the truck.
Right.
And at that time, hopefully, I'll have enough to do the airbags also. So I'm going to put airbags on it.
Now that increases your carrying capacity, right?
Yeah, the airbags are actually considered as a spring system. So, yeah, it's just like on a semi truck.
Oh wow.
I want to find a single axle truck, 2 ton or bigger, something preferably with a 4-door, but something that I could at least put even a small sleeper on. Because I've got a 28-foot flatbed, the single axle pup, and I can get a dump trailer and everything pretty cheap. So if I could find a 2-ton or something to tow those, it'd be kind of handy to have.
2 ton.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
Check out if you want to get one of those bobbed 6x6s, Army 6x6s. I know a company where you can buy them from, and they'll deliver it.
Really?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That might do the job right there.
Is it out of Utah there?
Yep.
Yeah, if you could send that to me.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Hey, Mark. Awesome.
What's up, Mark?
What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. This is a new headset. I was gonna say, you can make some pretty damn decent knives out of leaf springs. Like, real nice. Good, strong, bushcrafty knives. Axes. You make all kinds of shit out of.
I'm kind of partial to machetes when it comes to spring steel.
I've got a
Well,
crate full of
the geometry is important.
I've heard they work good, but I've got a crate full of the railroad spikes. I don't know if those work good or not. I've heard they do.
I've seen people make stuff out of them.
Nice.
I know somebody that took railroad spikes and they heated it up and they put like a twist handle and they made like a dinnerware set out of them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I wasn't like jealous or anything. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of stuff out of steel. My dad was a sheet metal mechanic for his like day job, but he could fabricate things and do all kind of magic with steel. And then a lot of his friends, like he was friends with a blacksmith, and
Nice.
I used to go over and play with his kids while the grown-ups hung out and whatnot. And here, I remember the sound of the hammer pinging on metal. All that shit. This guy had a yak, too.
A yak?
A yak in Middle Tennessee.
Nice.
A poor yak. They like cold weather. But whatever.
There's a dairy here that they're just building. It's a dairy that does something for one of those foo-foo yogurt companies.
Oh, boy.
They're just put Colorado, imagine that. But they're putting it in I've been in the mornings. I'm driving a cement truck, and I've been driving the cement truck out there to deliver. And they brought these cattle in from Wisconsin, and I'm sitting there thinking it's like this dry heat here. Those cows have got to be pissed. Come from Wisconsin with the humidity and a nice, somewhat mild compared to here, because we get the two extremes: extreme heat during the summer and it's dry, and extreme dry cold during the winter. So yeah, those cows got the short stick, that's for damn sure.
When it gets cold here, it's always a wet cold.
Nice.
It's like you'll be standing around somewhere and get like this weird pocket of warm, steamy air, even with snow on the ground. Kind of crazy. But
not here. It's a rarity. Even after a snowstorm, it's a rarity where we have a lot of humidity here.
Like somebody built an igloo. We had like a record snow this past winter here, and somebody in that neighborhood I was living in built an actual fucking igloo.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. I build my abominable snow woman. I was tired. I was busting my ass at that job. I didn't have the energy to frolic like a kid. Kind of sad about that. But
I miss being able to do that.
Yeah, I do it all the time nowadays, though. It's kind of fucking around.
Yeah, Princess is all cowered up right next to me.
You got more thunder there again?
People setting off fireworks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all good. She'll get used to it. She's getting better, but she's not shaking anymore.
Nice. Molly and Sadie are both at the foot of my bed, just side by side. I swear those two are inseparable.
Well, the last couple of days, Ranger ain't been but about 3 feet away from Princess.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, she's been in heat, so.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Man, I've been wanting pets so bad lately. I've been considering capturing a June bug. But
what the fuck? Yeah.
I'd walk it too. I'd make a little fishing string leash. Fucking walk my June bug balls.
One of my cats just had kittens. If anybody lives close by, and these cats get freaking huge. I shouldn't call them cats; they're like mini bobcats.
I'm not really a cat person.
Not a cat person.
Well, I'm due to have a litter of rabbits for the next 4 weeks. Every week for the next 4 weeks.
Nice.
Damn.
Meat, right?
Yep. Once they get about 5-6 months, it's time to put them in the freezer.
You getting California Giants?
Flemish.
What you got?
Flemish Giants.
Right on.
Except for during Easter when he has a rent-a-rabbit.
Right. You gotta rent a rabbit. Yeah.
Right.
Those are awesome.
My buddy was raising California Giants, and the meat was very mild. Like if it got fried, it tasted a lot like maybe pork.
Yeah,
you know, like
kind of like a halfway between pork and chicken kind of thing.
Yeah, very, very mild.
Not gamey at all. No. And, oh yeah, I love making schnitzel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
See, I'm a pansy. I have issues. If I raise something, I get attached. I guess if there was a lot of them, I probably wouldn't, but it becomes a pet, and then I can't eat the darn thing.
Stop giving them names.
The breeders we actually
That's it.
name and we treat them and we keep them healthy and we they are our pets. We don't eat
Yeah.
them. We just eat the babies.
I
Right.
gotcha.
It's like, oh, Scruffy, you such a good girl. I gotta go slaughter number 2 now. See ya.
Well, we call them nugget and pork
Right.
chop and fritter.
Now,
Hot pepper.
I named every single pig. Every.
We don't name the
single
babies except for nugget.
But only one pig was off limits. Only one was my pet. And that was my boar. Pork
Right.
chop. That
Pork
was
chop,
mine.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's an open game too. He gets it gets too big. You gotta make pork chops.
It was real fucked up too. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I know he knew what I was doing with the other pigs. I know he knew that.
I just got a news flash.
What's that?
What's that?
The news flash. They're claiming there's a Delta variant of the corona.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Everybody
Nonsense.
run for the hills.
Just when we're starting to get over the Roner, they got to pull this bullshit. Oh, look out now. There's Super King Kong Hella
We knew this
Mega
was
Delta.
coming.
Yeah.
We knew this was coming.
You got one side that swears you're going to kill Granny if you don't get the vaccine, and then the other side that swears you're going to kill Granny if you do get the vaccine by shedding. I swear it's just stuff to split us up and divide us.
They just beat themselves at their own argument. They're like mad that we ain't getting the vax, but they're telling us that we could still kill Grandma if we get the vax. So what good is it?
Yep.
It's you don't have to be down the rabbit hole to just think about it.
It's an endless circle.
The logical conclusion to all this is, for the average person who isn't red-pilled or anything, would have to be no thanks, because goddamn, and it's not even hidden information that we know, guys. This is just stuff that is out there.
Right.
Well, and I know a lot of people that weren't necessarily Trump supporters, and they probably didn't even vote for him. I just don't know where they stand. I mean, I know where they stand politically, basically, but just not who they supported as president. And their first instinct is like, okay, this hasn't been tested, and they don't want to get it because of that. So,
well, I see kind of a problem here. You know how there's like a lot of anti-government sentiment, and everybody's starting to say, this is tyranny. Well, it ain't just the right wing. Today, earlier this morning, I was having coffee, and I was making my rounds around the internet looking for news and shit, as I do. And anyway, I come across all these clips of liberal mouthpieces, questioning things today. So,
are they actual liberals, or are they the lefty?
Leftists, I guess you would call them.
Yeah.
Like Bill Maher, for one.
Oh, God. Yeah, I saw some of the stuff on him start questioning.
Yeah. There are YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to. Because I am a centrist, after all, guys. And, some of these people are left-leaning. I like to get their perspective too, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're making videos talking about, they sound like conservatives sounded a few years ago. They're saying the exact same shit. They're going against the Constitution. What the hell is this? That ain't right. This is tyranny, and so on.
Right.
There's a
So
lot of
we're
people that swear I'm conservative, but I still think I lay in the center. There's a lot of things I'm open to discussion about. There's a few things that I'll admit that I've got conservative tendencies on, but I like to think I'm still somewhat the center too. And I talk to both sides. I think it's good that even if like a staunch conservative and a staunch leftist, I think it's good if they talk.
Yeah, I do too.
yeah,
But
it's good to have
I'm
a
not-
discourse.
I'm not left or right. I don't consider myself like that. I'm libertarian.
Yeah.
Leave me the fuck alone, and I leave you the fuck alone.
you know what?
That's as
I guess
simple as it is.
Yeah.
that's about my motto too. So maybe I'm that. I don't know what to label myself. I'm just you do you,
Live-
I'll do me, and let's
Live
do it that way.
Livian.
Yeah.
That's libertarian. Yep.
Well, that's a shock to me that I'm libertarian, but I guess I
Yeah.
am. I'm all about the Constitution, and I'm all about individual freedom, states' rights, and everything.
Personally,
else.
I live by the I live by the Ten Commandments and the Constitution, and that's
Nice.
that's the extent of my law. No injury, no damage, no loss, no crime.
Well, and it comes down to I know there's this big war on the vaccine versus those who want it versus those who think it's bad and everything. I get the argument. It's good to have. It's good to discuss it. But the vitriol coming from both sides on it is like, you know what? That's the part I don't understand. If somebody wants to get it, if they, looked into it, if they want to get it, okay. If they don't want to get it, okay. That's their right to decide.
That's
for
their
themselves.
choice. They got to live with the consequences. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't understand well, don't come around me because you could bring another strand. And I think that's all kind of, I don't want to say made up, but the whole shedding and stuff. I think that's a little blown out of proportion. Personally,
we got to look at it. We got to look at it from the point of view of this too. Those people on the other side are also Americans, and their point of view is valid, but the thing is, they're misinformed. I mean, they do sheepishly believe anything CNN tells them. So, then on our side, we have
It is
conservatives.
It's what they consider their church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know where you're going with this. On our side, we have people on Fox News and on InfoWars that everything they say, they don't have to prove it. If they say it, it's true. And it's both sides are sinking deeper and deeper into this thing, and that's what worries me. It's like we need to quit siding up on every little thing.
That's why open dialogue and discourse is so important, so that we're able to educate each other in the name of unity. That's what I think. Anyway,
I agree. The elite, or whatever they are, the money people, the people at the top where they control a lot of crap. Their worst fear is all of us united. That's why they're going to divide us between left and right, and then in the right they're going to divide us against the Q people and the info people. On the left they're going to divide them between the BLM people and the Antifa people, and they're going to just and they're going to work at each one of those angles and push it harder and harder and harder to divide the groups.
They're scared of that because united, we absolutely can beat F-15s and nukes.
Oh, I agree. United, if we were fully united, then yes, march to Washington, say we're taking
there would not be a force on this earth that could challenge the tens of millions of angry, trained, and unified Americans.
Yeah,
as we are now,
if it really
sorry.
was an insurrection on the January 6th, they wouldn't have had a chance. There would be none of this bullshit.
They would have not had stood a fucking chance.
And see,
It scared them. That's why
those
we're
things
seeing
like that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Frank.
Oh,
Yeah,
those
you go
things
ahead.
like that are, in my opinion, are what they want. We're so scattered and unorganized that they want us to do these little things to where they can nail the biggest, the populace with it. If we were united, then I think, then of course we'd be able to do it and everything. But how it is right now, they would love, in my opinion, they would love to see these little groups go out and do silly things that's going to give them the right to make new laws and come down on top.
They'd like that until a real insurrection happens.
But it already has.
But let's
The
look
real
at history.
insurrection happened during the election.
Just the wrong direction.
That was no insurrection.
Yeah, it was.
There was a coup.
January
There was a-
6th was a real one?
There
I
was
don't
a false flag.
No,
No,
November 3rd.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I'm saying January 6th, that was not an insurrection.
No.
No.
January 6th, in my honest opinion, and this is from everything that I could find on it, is that there was a lot of instigators that had a few unfortunate people intending to do the right thing that got too hyped up and too excited, and
Well,
then
I don't
stop.
think it was even that. I think
I don't think so.
a lot of people have been proven to have been Antifa in disguise.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And those were the instigators. I think they were there for a purpose to instigate, and there were. I mean, we can't deny that there were some patriots that walked in, but the thing is that they're making it look like the patriots marched in. Those patriots were let in,
No.
and they're not showing that part. The patriots are not the ones up breaking windows and doing stuff like that.
that one lady was let in to use the bathroom and got arrested for it. Let in by Capitol Police, mind you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
They're having the fun and games of calling this an insurrection when it wasn't, until the real insurrection happens, and then it won't be fun to them anymore. Game over.
Well, there won't be an insurrection.
No, there probably won't, most likely.
What's the word for it when it's legal and something that should happen? Instead of a bad word like insurrection. Because an insurrection is when you're rebelling against a lawful government.
Right.
We don't have that anymore.
No.
So, yeah.
We haven't had a lawful government since 1871.
And decades.
1871.
Time.
Over 100 years, 130 something years, we ain't had a lawful government. In fact, they call it a de facto government because it's outside.
Actually, I gotta agree with Emerald definitely on that one. You look into a lot of the laws that were established in 1871, and from then on, it was the demise of our rights.
Have you ever asked yourselves why the military flag is flying in local schools, courtrooms, and
yes,
things of that nature?
Yes, I've asked that. In front of people's houses.
Have you ever seen the civil flag of the United States?
Yes, I have.
That's what should be flying in our civilian institutions.
It's got red and white stripes and blue stars with a white background. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also a post office flag, and why are they flying a military flag at the post office?
Exactly. Well, I think they used to be like a branch of the cavalry or some damn shit back in the early history. I'm not sure.
I don't
During
know.
the Pony in the origins of the Pony Express, they were considered army regulars, I believe. They weren't
Yeah,
actually fighting army, but they were given the honors, I believe.
Right. Well, now they're a federal corporation, is what they are. So they're not military.
Well,
They have
tell me
they
this:
have law enforcement.
why did
I'm
they
sorry,
militarize?
agent.
Why did they militarize the Bureau of Land Management? Why did they militarize the Federal Bureau of Investigation? Why are the Chia Pets operating on U.S. soil? Why are it's
Well, you know what the BLM is? It's an offshoot of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, is what they are. They started
the
as
ones
the Bureau of Indian Affairs and became the BLM.
Yep. They're the ones that march the Native Americans off their land constantly. Yeah, they don't have a very good track record.
Interior.
And they used to have the Bureau of Indian Affairs had its own Indian enforcement agency.
Yeah, they had the what the fuck was that called?
That was to make sure the Indians didn't start some shit.
Yeah, it was kind of like the FBI, but they dealt exclusively with Indian.
Hey, Zach, K2
They still exist too. I can't remember the name of the agency, but anyway. Oh, I saw a news article this morning. NASA is buying new rifles. So there's that.
That's something NASA needs.
Right. Well, it's for their security forces. But, when I saw that headline, I was thinking, what the fuck? I wasn't thinking about, security at their installations. But,
oh, nice. Now the assholes have guns.
Yeah.
NASA, never a straight answer.
All kinds of things are going through my head. Like, what are they just flexing on the ISS? They're like bickering about who's in charge, and then you get the American astronaut with a fucking M4. I guess that's me, fellas. What's up?
NASA they took the most money out of any agency, and they got the least done. And they just nothing was done over time. And even you talk about some of the rovers that were sent, all that stuff was handed out to private corporations to do parts of it. Mm-hmm. NASA did very little.
I think NASA is basically just their black bag money laundering organization. I mean, every criminal enterprise needs a front, right? So,
I guarantee you there's a lot of money that is supposed to go there that's set aside that, doesn't go to them.
You are now under arrest by the power of interplanetary law.
By the way, have you guys seen the Angry Cops video about the Space Force basic training?
No.
Okay. What I will do is when I go back into the chat, I'll put a link. You grab it, save it, or whatever. It's hilarious. The guy's a New York National Guard drill sergeant, and he does a lot of good, funny videos, military related. So I ain't gonna spoil it, but I've been running around saying to myself, "Potato, potato," and you'll get it if you watch the video. It tickles me. Talk about a low intensity boot camp. That's all I'm gonna say. It's funny.
Along lines of relaxing Jackson and those.
Oh my goodness. This is administered by the Air Force, by the way. So, not talking shit at the Air Force. You know they got their badasses too, but just watch the Space Force video. My God.
Well, you got to imagine too, though, if they want a lot of the techie people, I can imagine. There's no way a lot of those techie people are going to pass 9 weeks of normal basic training.
If you watch the video, they'll probably 100% everybody pass. I don't see any washouts in this one, fellas. I really don't.
I can just hear the jokes now. Are you a space cadet?
Oh, they're referring to themselves as guardians.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that has some. Okay, so I'll say this on that after hearing the Guardians. If they can out-hack North Korea, then I don't care if they can run 5 miles. I get it now.
I want to know what the space threat is, and I also want to be confident that our forces, should things go into CQB with an extraterrestrial presence, I want them to be able to overcome the threat.
Right now, a lot of it is China's sat killer, their drone satellite setups that can take out satellites.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't forget too, Russia is into hypersonic weapons now, and they haven't slowed down since that missile that came out. They've been working on other shit like that.
I was gonna say, weren't the Russians the ones that were they like several years ago they launched a land-based missile that could take out a satellite?
Well, yes, and they also have another missile that is so fast that there's really no countermeasures for it. Yeah, it's some pretty spooky shit they got. That's a good thing we're not really enemies, huh? But they have some pretty impressive military tech nowadays. I don't know about space, I'm not like privy to any information like that. But
I don't think Putin is enemies with the Clintons and the Bidens, but I think that I don't think he liked Trump. I think that's why they pushed that they were buddies, that he was buddies with Trump. I think it was the opposite. I think it was, that I know a lot of people.
There's a difference between our government and our people. I think if he hates America, probably more referring to distinctly our government. I mean, he's made a lot of speeches in the vein of telling us that he wants to be friends with the United States, it'd be mutually beneficial and all that. And to be honest,
but he's not. Here's the difference. He's not friendly with the central banking system.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think I put as much faith in Putin as the rest of you do. I think Putin will probably do what he thinks is best for Russia, not the Russian people, but Russia.
And he should. And he's the president of Russia.
And I agree with that. But you also got to remember, this guy, that his political adversaries, they really do wind up imprisoned, or there's something, they get in trouble for some corruption or this and that. Plus, not to mention, this guy was KGB, and he spoke out against against dissolving the USSR. He was not happy about that. He's never been happy about that. Even as 5 years ago in a speech he did, he said it was the worst thing that happened to
I don't agree.
the Eurasian continent, or the Eurasian area. So
I don't
this
agree.
guy, I just don't see him miraculously switching his opinion on.
I do.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For one, he's strongly advocating a return back to the Russian Orthodox Church by the people. He's a strong advocate on that. There's a lot of stuff out there that he wants to get Russia back to being similar to how the U.S. was in the 1950s. Couples having children, things like that. He wants to get it back to that. And aside from that, communism is entirely banned in the former Soviet Union.
Nope. Not at all in Russia. No. There's a Green Party in Russia. They may not call it communism, but there's an active Green Party in Russia, and actually that active Green Party supports Putin. You look at that Green Party's initiatives and everything, and it is based upon communism or Marxism. Same thing. That I completely disagree. They may not call it. You can ban the name of something, but if it's still there in practice, then it still exists, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's also not allowed to be. It's not allowed to be discussed or propagandized in Russia.
Under the name of communism. And actually, they did that to socialism under communism. They banned the discussion of socialism.
I understand this about Russia. They are now a Christian nation. They are also a representative republic, a constitutional representative republic.
Yeah, they're a federation just like us. They're, well, like we are in practice, not how we're supposed to be.
They're just not NATO.
Saying just like America, though, is a pretty far stretch.
Right.
Because they're not really a constitutional republic. They're close to a democracy, but as for different statehoods and everything, they're what the lefties are trying to do here, where the national government has sway over all the states completely. The states' rights don't matter, and that's how Russia is. There's a centralized government on a national level that tells everybody what they could do. So it's kind of what they have is kind of what the left is trying to do with getting the national government, the highest government. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I don't know him personally. I'm just saying, don't put too much faith there.
Do you remember what Russia was like before the Berlin Wall came down?
Yeah,
I do.
I do.
I was on the wall.
I was too. And what I'm about to tell you,
I was a poor beet farmer.
When it was under Soviet control, there were fences all along the whole entire thing. All the countries were all absorbed into Russia. Everything was absorbed into Russia. So Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, it didn't matter. They were all part of Russia. They're not now.
Czechoslovakia.
What?
Czechoslovakia. Yeah.
That's not part of Russia.
Not anymore.
It was the Czech Republic. The top portion of the Czech Republic was.
They were. Yeah, they were.
Part of the USSR.
Yes. All those countries. So what I'm saying is they're not the former Soviet Republic in any color of the spectrum. They're just really not. They've all got their own going. They've all got their own thing going. And like Ukraine, for example, Ukraine is not even on the Russian ruble. And this is what Ukraine was all about, was Ukraine actually wanted to have their own currency. Soros wanted to get them on the euro because Soros runs the euro. He wanted to get Georgia, all of them, and cordon Russia off so that Russian rubles wouldn't be able to be exchanged in the European Union. This is what his whole thing is. And he didn't want oil coming out of Russia or going into Russia. He wanted to cut off the oil pipeline from Iraq to Russia, because there's a lot of oil there. So that's pretty much a lot of it right there in the nutshell. Soros is involved.
I'm not
One good
disagreeing.
way to piss Russia off is resources. Just saying.
All the resources, not just oil.
Yeah.
All the
I'm
resources.
not. What does that have to do with the involvement of USSR though? I'm not sure.
Okay.
I missed
What it has to do with is Russia itself is not the bastion of communism anymore. It's
China.
not. What?
China.
China is the last holdout. China and North Korea. Of
Well,
course,
it used to be the CCCP when it was Russia.
yeah.
You've got
Now it's just the
others. You forget there's also Vietnam. There's actually several Southeast Asian countries that are. We acknowledge them as trade partners.
They're under the umbrella of China, the China version of communism, which China communism and Russian communism never agreed with each other.
Oh, they never have gotten along. They've had disputes forever over land. And
China is trying to get their ass wedged into Siberia right now.
But no communism is good. Not for the people. Maybe good for a handful of people at the top, but no communism is good.
It's not good for world affairs in general.
Yeah.
Communism is bad for world affairs.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Socialism is bad for world affairs.
Yeah. Socialism and communism are both. I completely agree.
Hey, did you hear the latest about Biden trying to get rid of the suburbs? If you live in a nice single family dwelling with an acre of land and a nice front yard, a driveway, and a mailbox, you're racist.
Yeah,
Having that, yep. If you're not living in a slum, you're racist, basically.
Guilty as charged.
Actually, they're talking about that on another channel this very moment.
Yep.
Oh, they're coming at people in the country now, and small towns now really hard too. They're doing it in Colorado here real bad, pretty much saying that we're not welcoming to, people of, it's like, oh, bullcrap. These little towns. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you are. It matters who you are. If you're a decent person, you're going to do fine. If you're not a decent person, it doesn't matter what color, what religion, whatever.
If you're trash, you're trash.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And so it's just they're these little hints trying to nail us in small towns and country folk here. It's like, yeah, you guys are flat out lying.
So when I look at the old Soviet system, there was no free market society. The government came in and told you how much you were going to grow on your land. They told you who was going to have what for an occupation. They'd come right into your fucking house and they would tell you, you're going to be a ballerina, you're going to be a violin player. They would tell you what you were going to be. And that's not happening right now. So,
go over to Russia, buy the land, and start farming without a decree from the government. Right now, even without a governmental decree, you still have to have a governmental decree to be able to own land, to be able to prosper.
Well, that's something I don't quite get, because Cuba's version of communism was completely backed and based by Russia. And in Cuba, you can own a small business.
With the government decree. You have to have permission.
Well, yeah, kind of like how you get a business license here. But they cap it, so you can't really ever grow it beyond certain amount.
You can't start a chain.
Yeah, so you couldn't like start a big ass corporation, stuff like that.
And a lot of that in Russia hasn't changed.
At the time, large corporations were seen as evil because they were doing really evil shit down in that part of the world.
Still do.
Yeah, still do. So you can't really blame them for not liking corporation. But in their model, it was not like Russia. There wasn't like a battery and then your job is chosen. You could actually start a business. You could decide that you want to do this thing for a living and apply for that and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had that whole, we have a shortage of this kind of worker. You scored this, and that, and that's what you're going to do, comrade. So,
no, but it didn't matter if you were a doctor or a teacher or a ditch digger. In Russia, everybody got paid the same.
Pretty much.
There was no what. That's the whole purpose of what they claim to be the communist utopia, is where everybody has to make sacrifices for the fatherland, because Hitler and his Democratic Socialist Republic, and the same thing with Union. It was all for the betterment of the greater good. It's a different form of government. It's for the betterment of the greater good of the Soviet Republic,
of the state.
Yeah,
the state was above all.
Yeah, exactly. That's straight out.
What's the key to a free market?
Individual liberty.
Being able to ascend to
startup capital.
Yeah, building capital. That's called capitalism.
Being able to profit.
Yeah, but the free market's not based on capitalism. It's based on individual productivity, based on individual ideas, based on individual
being able to make a living, make a profit is what it's supposed to.
Our version of capitalism, the cancer that was embedded within our version of capitalism was a debt-based system that they created through the central bank.
Yep, the debt-based system is what kills.
So
and that is an attack on personal property. That's the problem with it.
So I have this question for you. When did debt ever create prosperity? That's my question.
Well, never, because you've got interest on it if it's a loan.
It's never created prosperity.
And then you have your collateral. So all of the things that you amass, if you miss your payment, they're going to be taken away from you.
So what we have right now is a debt-based.
So it's sink or swim because it's debt-based. You don't have any cushion. You either fail or you're fucked. And that's something I don't much like about our system, to be honest. But I don't know how to fairly create a cushion, for people. But when you start out, own the stuff that you start out with. Never put it up.
Bill's trying to say something there, Frog.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Who created this system? That's what we got to address, because that's where the problem lies in our country. And there are people that look like they're rich, and you've seen them. They look like they're rich, but they can't even buy themselves a sandwich. And
you're breathing on your mic.
Oh.
So if you've got a really nice house, you got a nice car, you got a big chunk of property and everything, it all looks great and everything, at least your image does. But in actuality, you walk inside and there's no furniture, there's no food in the fridge. That's because you built up all that debt to pay that house, and you got nothing left to live on. And so you're paying debt, and it's compound interest, and it's building and building and building, and you're not getting ahead at all. And so you're getting married to a mortgage is what you're doing. And
that crony.
Yeah.
It's defined in the Bible as usury.
It is usury. It is usury.
That crony capitalism is what has led to so many people believing the BS of socialism.
That's why a car costs you $40,000 right now, is because of a debt-based system.
Fellas, I'm gonna hop off of here.
Go.
Good talk though.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
But yeah,
that was fun. Let's do it again. Y'all have
Go.
a good one.
You do.
Thank you, Patriot. See you in chat.
That's what, going back to the crony capitalism, that's what frustrates me so much. It's got people so fed up, because let's face it, you've got to be it. We're not with crony capitalism. It's, in my opinion, it's not much different than communism. If you're not in the group or in the political association, you're not going to climb that ladder.
Well, it created this materialistic atmosphere that we live in now, where everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses. And it's more like, well, I've got a bigger line of credit than you do. And that's really what it is. It's not true prosperity. Debt never created prosperity.
See, I've got a line of credit if I need it, but I drive it around a 2002 pickup. You know, almost 20 years old, still runs fine. My house isn't huge, you know, and everything, but what I got, it's nice. It's kept up and everything. And I got money in the bank to where if I want to go do something or want to buy something, I can buy it. Going back to what you were talking about, I've got cousins that live in a $250,000 house or more, driving around $60,000, $80,000 vehicles. They don't have a cent in the bank except for maybe for a day or two after payday.
And they're in bondage. The Bible says that the borrower is a slave to the lender. So they don't have any. They're in bondage. You can't, when you've got a mortgage, you can't just drag up and move somewhere if a good opportunity comes up.
Yep.
You know,
even their phones, for crying out loud, even their phones are paying interest on.
You got to make those payments.
Yep.
You can't. You're not free. If you're making those payments, you're not free.
Yep. And that's the sad thing. There's a lot of homeless people right now that got caught up in, and they were worried about getting another new house. And then in 2012, when that first crash happened, the housing bubble burst, and they started foreclosing on loans and everything and all that jazz. I was lucky. I got caught up in that, but I had almost everything paid off, and I had still money in the bank. So I was able to buy a cheap house, fix it, and I, able to buy a different vehicle.
But they took my house from me, and I had 7 years left to pay on it.
Oh, sorry.
Well, when they lend you money, that's just saying I can live beyond my means. That's all that's doing is giving you the privilege of living beyond their means. Privilege. It's not a right.
Well, I had been making extra payments on my house. I'd never missed a payment for 14 years. All the way up until the day they foreclosed on me, I had made my payments. They screwed up the books, and when they bought the mortgage and the payments, they didn't apply the payment to my mortgage account. Yeah, dude, I had all the receipts. I paid the money, and they wouldn't. No, they screwed me. I had 7 years left to pay on that house. That's it.
I owed $23,000 on an $87,000 loan on my house. I didn't even know they were foreclosing on it until my house showed up in the paper. By the time I even got a call back and everything. The auction had already happened. And the lawyer told me that he said, if you would have owed the full amount, they wouldn't have done that to you since they had a chance to make some of it. So I was in on that big lawsuit, and they were supposed to pay me back all the equity against Chase that I lost because I had cars, everything. One of my cars was an Impala that was only about 2 years old, and I had been making payments and doubling them and everything. I owed $1,200 on that car, and it disappeared out of my driveway. They even broke the glass out of it, out of one of the windows. It had to be the driver's side, how the glass was, and they just left it there on the road. They took my Tahoe, my pickup, my Impala. They sold the house. Everything was through Chase. They left my credit cards open, but my bank account was gone and everything, and they screwed me royally. We won in that case against them. 80,000 is what I was supposed to get total, which was a little under everything in the equity. The main thing they're after is the houses, and 80,000 is what I was owed. The federal government stepped in, and since banks aren't allowed to declare bankruptcy, they were allowed to. The federal government stepped in and helped them adjust it to where they only paid 10%. I got $8,000.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact that when they that mortgage fiasco thing happened, and they got busted for closing on people like me.
Yep, I was in the same one.
Right. You know what those people got out of that class action lawsuit? $2,500.
See, on ours against Chase, I got 10%.
Nope,
So
they
I
got $2,500. Bank of America got away with all of it.
Nice. So they got off more scot-free than Chase did.
Yep. They gave those people $2,500. That's it.
That's sickening. I mean, I knew people that were homeless. I was lucky. I mean, my mom had a house at the time. I moved in with my mom. My sisters helped me out, and then I had enough money to where, in the meantime, I was able to find a house and then fix it up and move into it. So yeah, I was lucky. I knew a lot of.
Yep, my $80,000 worth of equity just went to the bank. That's it.
Yep. Well, 72,000 of mine that I was supposed to get back did. They just basically buried it. Never have to pay it off. It's still on the books as they owe it, but they never have to pay it off.
This is what cracks me up out in your neck of the woods over there. So I go inside the Cabela's in Sidney, Nebraska, and I see this. I have this guy in front of me. He's getting all this stuff for one duck hunt, and I heard him. It was $23,000 of shit for one duck hunt, and he put it all on a credit card. And I'm like, what the hell? $23,000 for a duck hunt? Are you trying to put on a show? And and so after he left, I said, I can't believe it, $23,000. He says, oh, that's nothing. They come down here out of Denver and stuff, and they'll fork out $45,000, $60,000 for one hunt.
I'm not kidding you. They will buy an $80,000 Suburban that they'll drive maybe once a year, and that's their hunting vehicle. And it's this nice, decked out Suburban. And these doctors and lawyers come down from the Front Range, and they stay out here. And we don't mind them because people out here charge them a crap load for a weekend to stay, in a cabin or a house or something. So, and they'll pay it.
I think they're doing it for image. And I see a lot of that around here where I live too. A lot of it's image. And I know that I don't envy any of them because I know that they're in debt up to their gills. And I'm like, thank God, that I could see through that whole thing. Because, one day, what happens if all of a sudden your income is shut down and you've got $100,000 in debt in credit cards that you can't pay off? That's a nightmare when you have to go through that.
I don't know how it is around there, but around here, if you see a really fancy new vehicle, not to hunt in that same field because those morons are not going to walk the right direction. You're going to pop up over a hill and have a pheasant or something come up, and they're going to be shooting at your ass. So we stay away from those. We look at the fields, that have other older vehicles or local vehicles, none of these people from out of town with real fancy vehicles because they don't know the rules. They're just out there to be big and tough and fire a gun. And
Shoot anything that moves. So.
yeah. And here we go. We always walk from the northeast to the southwest. That's just a rule. Everybody does that because we got hills and everything. And there's been people that have popped over hills, been in the line of fire and everything. So it's just in these counties out here, everybody walks from the northeast to the southwest just to keep everybody safe. Well, some of these guys, they'll see a pheasant hop in the field and they'll hop out real quick, think they're going to Arkansas it or something and get a quick kill. And they'll start walking that field all packed together, not even spread out. And they'll end up shooting the shit out of over your head. So, yeah.
I feel kind of bad. I didn't notice Miriam left to bears.
Oh.
I don't know if it's because our conversation or what. But
I'm going to get Carpenter up here since we're talking about hunting.
I want to look at the people in the chat too.
Carpenter needs to come up here.
Hi, Carp. Hi, Miriam. Hi, Huck. Sorry, guys. I get really into the convo sometimes, especially. I love the debate.
There's my Huckleberry. I didn't know Huckleberry was in here.
Huckleberry's here.
I'm dead.
Still kind of here.
I've actually got a crash early tonight, so I won't be on much longer.
No, you're not. You're fine. We're just kind of. I'm kind of feeling sorry for some of the people. They're talking like we're not paying attention to them. That's all.
I feel bad too. Yeah. No. My thing is I gotta get up early. And been driving a cement truck, so I want to make sure I get enough sleep so I'm not tired in that thing. There's a lot of cars. Well, you know how it is with truck driving. A lot of cars just don't understand. You even in a cement truck, you cannot stop as quickly as them. Do not cut off a truck. It's not a good idea.
You know a really bad one? I used to haul wet cement in a dump truck, and that sloshes around inside.
That's sloshing.
Big freeway expansion project that I was working on, and I figured it out. I can actually go in reverse. I can actually go through most of my gears in reverse. I haven't gone, through all my gears in reverse, but I'd get it up to about fourth gear. I'd be going 30 miles an hour in reverse. Can you believe that?
Nice. I can with some of those transmissions.
Yep. And there was a narrow drop off, and I had to be really careful how I did it. And with that cement sloshing around in the back, I got good at it though.
Yeah. When I was on the rigs, I was driving a tanker, and it didn't have the baffles in it. It was just a rig water trailer. So all the baffles were out of it, if it ever even had any to begin with. And I was coming down. I don't know if you've ever been to Ray, Colorado. It's in a canyon. It's like at the bottom of a canyon, and it's high on all sides. So when you're coming into town, there's a steep drop off. And I had a car come around me, and the lane ended, and he darted right in front of me. And then he decided to hit his brakes and make a turn. That water, it popped the lid off of the front one. It washed over the cab and nailed the back of his car.
That's funny, but not funny.
Well, yeah, it scared the crap out of me. It served him right because they all had their windows down. So
too bad it wasn't a convertible with the top down.
Yeah, that would have been better. Oh, I did see what. I wasn't Yeah, I wasn't driving, but I did see one where a convertible cut off a car in Sterling. I was driving through Sterling, Colorado in my pickup. I had a job up there, and I was driving through, and this car cut it off, and the guy had to hit his brakes, and he's hauling cattle. And one of those cows must have been ticked off because one of those cows peed right into that convertible truck went around him. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I can
That
see
was
that.
one of the worst accidents I ever saw. Now that you mention that, of
Huckleberry's picking her nose.
a livestock
Ew.
truck that tipped over in an ice storm, and there was sheep everywhere, all over the freeway. Sheep everywhere. Dead ones, live ones. They were wounded ones. I mean, they were everywhere, all over the freeway.
That's the worst part is the wounded ones. They're just, it's awful.
And then
Welcome in, Valentine.
The freeway was a solid sheet of ice, and people were plowing right into these sheep walking across the freeway. Pile up. Oh, it was bad. It was a long time ago. I haven't seen that ever since, but thank God I haven't seen it since. But that was unbelievable.
We
I drove by a
this,
cattle hauler that did
yeah. We had a turkey truck hauling live turkeys turn over on the highway, and there was turkeys everywhere.
This was a trailer that was 3 stories high of sheep in it.
Yeah.
It had 3 levels of sheep in it. It was overturned on the freeway in the median.
Yeah.
I hauled livestock once. I hauled some cattle for a feedlot. I will never do that again. Going around the curve, they shifted on me. I will never, ever haul livestock again. That scared the living crap out of me. And I was only going about 45 around that curve. And it was bad enough at 45. Some of these bull haulers, man, they're going around their 70.
I know those guys. I know a few.
Yeah. And they're every bit as nuts as you would think they are.
No, these guys, these crazy suckers are hauling rodeo stock. Rodeo stock bulls. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, screw that. A normal cow is bad enough. You put a pissed off Brahma in the back. No. No thanks.
I think Brangus are a little meaner. I think they are. I might be wrong. Brahmas are pretty bad.
Welcome in, Valentine.
Shit, I was talking and I didn't realize I hit mute. I was those Brangus, the Angus and Brahma mix. They can get pretty rough, definitely. And but some of those Brahmas, the strength in them is just it's insane. It doesn't look like much until you have a genius idea sometime to hop on one. And for me, it was the first and last time because I hit the fence upside down. So I tried that once and I never did it again.
Right.
Well, I lasted 3 seconds and got smacked against the fence, and that was my first rib injury, and that was over in Germany.
Right. I came down, luckily it was softer dirt, so it didn't do any neck damage or anything, but I came down right on the crown of my head. I mean, my legs were literally up in the air off to the left a little bit, and I hit that. And I think I made it through the first buck, and it was the second buck, but it might have been the end of the first buck that launched me. And so it was like a second that I was on there. It was, never wanted to do that again. I just remember my hands on my knees trying to catch my breath and figure out exactly what the hell just happened and where was I and all that jazz. So
yeah, I was done. I was done. And
I remember
all he did was kind of sidewinded me and smashed me against the fence.
Oh, I was airborne. I'm sure it looked probably pretty comical. Luckily at the time, everybody was scared to death that I broke my neck, so nobody was really laughing. I remember
yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
Rodeo clown saved my life.
First time I ever rode a horse, some bitch tried to scrape me off on a tree. Yeah, I didn't do that very often.
I've had them do that for me. Usually I jump off the horse before, when I see that tree branch coming, I jump off. I'm ditching it.
We had a horse. Her name was Ginger when I was growing up, even after school for a while. That darn horse, that old girl, and we had a barn that had a low roof on it. She could get in, but not with a rider, and she knew it. She would shoot in the door and just peel you right off. So you just had to slide off the back of her and go in and get her and bring her back out.
Well, I just stood on the other stirrup. I just stood on the other stirrup and kicked my leg back. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah. Shit, nowadays.
Go ahead.
Oh, nowadays they'll walk around with their spurs on and everything, and they're sharpened. And I shake my head. It's like actual cowboys don't tear up their horse with those damn things, right? And they're like, well, this is what the cowboys wear. It's like, no. I was like, if a cowboy had spurs, they're blunted. I was like, they may kind of give a little jab and everything, but they're not tearing in like razors like those damn sharpened stars are. Those cowboys put a lot of money into those horses, and they're not going to tear that hell out of their hide with them.
I've seen some pretty gnarly Texas pizza cutters.
See, most actual cowboys I've seen, they're either rings or they're blunted.
Mine are nubs. I just use nubby. Yeah, I just use those little round.
Yeah, the only ones I got are just rings. They just spin the spinning ring and everything. It's like a washer, basically, just enough to remind them you're there.
My horse, I'm trying to get him used to not having to. I don't want to ever train him to really ride with spurs. So if I use anything, I use nubs.
Yeah. And if you got a good cutting horse, you don't have to spur that thing anyway. That horse will know. You basically, if it sees a calf trying to get back to mama or something, and you're cutting it out of the herd, it knows that calf's supposed to stay away. So your job is basically at that point, once that horse realizes it, is to hang on and to move with it, because that horse is going to do its own work to get that calf out of there.
Yeah, my horse is not really much of a mountain horse because he's too tall. I'll take him on trails and stuff, but he's a tall Appaloosa.
Yeah. Oh, nice, Carp. Old retired rodeo horse. I feel bad for the feedlot horses. Those people in there are not cowboys. They treat those horses. They fired the guy, but thank God. But that guy would get on ice, sit there and spur his horse, and they had a horse break a hip on the ice, and they fired him. And I mean, we all kept telling him, that guy's kill himself, kill somebody else, or kill that horse, one or the other. And it took that guy busting a hip on a horse, and it just ticked us all off, and they finally got him. I didn't ride pins. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather walk a pin or ride a four-wheeler than put a horse through that.
Yeah, my horse is pissed off because I gelded him at 1.5 years.
So didn't have a chance to breed, huh?
But he still gets lathered up when he smells mares out there.
And we had one, his name was Cutter. We had him gelded. He almost didn't make it. Something about when they put the tubes in his nose and everything, it messed up his I don't know, they put him too deep. It messed up something into his lungs, And he ended up actually coming out of it and being one of the best cutting horses that we had. So.
I wouldn't say my horse is a good cutting horse. He'd be a good driving horse, you know.
Oh yeah, yep.
He's kind of more like you'd take him out on a cattle drive or something, you know. He's just long legged. He's a good sized horse. That's
You know
part
what?
of the reason why I waited until he was a year and a half to get him gelded, is because I actually wanted him to get a little bigger and mature a little bit more before I got him snipped.
Yeah. And in my opinion, the best horses out there are the ones that have a little spunk to them, but are the ones that are just good for an evening ride, or, going out on the weekend and just riding around, just for, go out and mosey around, basically. And we had some that took Spirited to a whole new level. I mean,
now,
I'm sure you've been around the ones that would reach back and give you a little love bite on the leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had some ornery horses.
My first cowboying experience was on a ranch, the largest ranch in the state of Utah, and it was actually, it's not large land wise, but what they do is they graze all their cattle and everything on BLM.
Oh yeah,
the BLM land. They've got the largest herd of cattle and largest flocks of sheep of any ranch in the state. And anyway, so they put me on. They give me this horse. They're like, "Can you ride?" And I knew how to ride, but I did not know how to work with a horse, you know. So I got on this horse, and
carp. Sorry, go ahead.
We took off to go chase cows, and the horse took off, and he didn't listen to me. And I'd start pulling back on the reins. He wouldn't do shit. And then suddenly, well, guess what his name was? This is the horse that I had to dismount him. I mean, dismount him before I hit a tree branch, because he was gonna try and knock me off. His name was Clown, and they were laughing their ass off. These freaking seasoned cowboys, right? They're laughing their ass off at me, and I'm down there. I'm like, fuck, and my hat is like 10 miles away, you know. My cowboy hat flew off my head way back there, you know. This horse took off on a dead run. He knew what he was doing. The horse knew what he was doing because he was keeping up with their horses. He just took off and ran, and I could not stop him. I couldn't slow him down or nothing. Just on a dead run. And found a tree branch, and he's going to try and get rid of me.
That reminds me, when I was a kid, we had one named Doll Baby, and gorgeous horse. If you spurred her, all you had to do is shake the reins and give a click and everything, and she would go. If you wanted to go a little faster, just kind of tap her or whatever. If you had anything that poked her, she would stop, reach around, bite you in the leg. I mean, she'd get you back. But this horse was also tricky.
Me, I'm gonna hurt you. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And this horse had a good trick too. If you weren't used to riding her, putting the saddle on, you had to cinch that saddle strap several times. You just couldn't do it 2 or 3 times because she'd take short breaths. So you couldn't cinch that strap down. And she would shoot out of that saddle. She'd take off just at a dead sprint before you did anything. Like right when you climbed on, she'd take off at a dead sprint, and that saddle would come off of her. She was a smart horse. She had it all figured out.
Yeah. And those dogs teach each other. You really don't train cow dogs and sheep dogs. You don't train them. They train each other. They know what to do. It's like, I've got a dog that's scared to get in the truck. If I got her with those stock dogs, within one day she'd just jump right in with the rest of them, because the dogs teach each other.
Yep.
They teach each other to go in their kennels. They teach each other to whatever they need to do. You know, they teach each other the commands and stuff, and they will and they'll tighten them up if they get out of line and do something wrong. You'll see them. They'll just come over and take a nip out of them, like telling them you did that wrong.
Yep.
It's hilarious. You think you're training these dogs? No.
Yep. I've seen a mama dog out there working, and the pups, when they're able to somewhat keep up, there's 5 or 6 pups around there with her, while she's out there, all she's doing is going through the corral, and everything, just walking, but those pups are walking around the cattle with her.
Having a good breed of a dog is not the same as having a good dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. We had our best dog. We called him Pooh. Don't ask me why. We were little tiny kids when we got him, and that's probably the first word that came out of our mouth when we got him. And we had him till I was probably in about 5th or 6th grade. Biggest dang dog. He was a mixture. Daddy had like 3 different types of dog. He had sheepdog, something else, but he was a huge dog, and he was the best dog we ever had. He's the one that he would actually, if coyotes came up into close to the corral or anything like that, he got tore up one night really bad, and we had to run him into the vet. Like the next morning when my dad saw him, we had to run him in to get him stitched up. He got tore up really bad. They found 2 dead coyotes out there, and I mean, he obviously got into it with pretty good path, and he got 2 of them. So that dog was a beast.
It's kind of funny. Somebody tells me, "Yeah, I paid $1,500 for my dog." Well, guess what? I paid $50 for my dog, and I bet your dog can't do what I can do. What mine can do, you know?
Yep.
And that is kind of how it is. It's like the best dogs, the best cow dogs. I mean, these dogs. When you see regular city dogs, and you feel them, you put your hands on their shoulders and everything, and you feel their body structure. These are sound, tight, very muscular, rock hard freaking dogs, compared to city dogs that might be number one breed and everything, and they are soft and smushy and no muscle development, very little muscle development. It's a night and day difference.
Yep.
And they're healthy.
My dogs, I feel bad. They're used to running around 5-6 acres. Now they got a 30 by 40 yard to run around in. So they're just kind of lazy and overweight now. But they're getting older too, so
and old wizard over there, he's got dogs that they're like coyotes come around, they just kind of go, MREs.
Yeah. We get coyotes around here, and Ranger's going to be dragging one of them back. I guarantee you.
That's how my old dog Pooh was. Those are good dogs, because there ain't nothing getting close to that house that's not supposed to be there.
Nope.
You're right, except for the fucking rabbits.
Yeah.
They get in the garden.
Well, the rabbits are their buddies.
Well, he eats the rabbits if he gets them.
Oh, I got you.
Right, he'll eat a rabbit, especially a wild one, and you know what I'm saying. He'll eat a rabbit quick, because we've caught a couple of them in the live trap, and then I'll trigger him on them before I let him go, and then I'll sit there and I'll be like, "You ready, Ranger?" Ranger starts digging at the cage. I'm like, open it up, and then he's off to the races. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And he always gets it. The next thing you know, he's dragging it back, eating it. There's nothing left when he gets done. Fur, bones, everything.
Definitely gets his use out of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
These dogs eat good, too, with all those eggs.
Oh, yeah. I give them each 3 eggs a day, and they got 27% protein food, and they get a lot of raw meat. Ranger's about 100 pounds now, maybe 110. He's only a year and a half, so he's still filling out.
I agree, Huck. Mutts are, especially for kids, mutts are the best dog to have around. And they're not dumb dogs. Mutts are generally pretty darn smart dogs. Carp was talking about his black lab. I will admit that my chocolate lab, I didn't buy it. My sisters all went together and bought it for me. And she was probably my closest buddy of all my dogs. I mean, I've loved all my dogs, but she was the one that was, yeah, she was. It's just labs take a lot of time. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I don't want a lab. They're hyper and they're not smart." It's like, no, they're very smart. But if you don't spend a lot of time with them, yeah, they will destroy your house. You've got to be committed to that pet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was kind of upset a while back when I got my first border collie, and because they wouldn't register them because they weren't a recognized breed, and the only ones that would recognize them was, I think it was the AKC, but what is it, the UKC, or there's a bunch of these dog breed things. And then I come to find out, once they registered them, all these dog breeders started buying them and breeding them for their looks, and for, you know, Animal Planet stuff for dog shows and everything, and it ruined them.
It was.
Every single time they start to register their bloodlines and stuff, it ruins the breed. It ruined the schnauzers. Schnauzers were really good terriers. Am I missing something?
Oh, sorry about that. I had to click mute. I had to come out to the pickup to get a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Can you all still hear me?
Yeah.
You can put it in the box.
I agree with you, though, Bill, that a lot of times, especially when they crossbreed them, they ruin a lot of the breed.
Well, it's not so much that. They just start inbreeding them. They start the puppy mills and they start inbreeding. And the quality
The lines
of the
get way too thin. Yeah.
If I go in there.
Because they're going for looks and body conformation and all this stuff. Not to say that a purebred border collie wouldn't be probably the most intelligent dog you ever had, but
yeah,
it did. There are a lot of very downgraded versions of border collies now after they started registering them. Which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got these Anatolian Shepherds, right? And in the future, I'd like to get some Samoyeds. Because I've always had Samoyeds. They are awesome dogs. They are absolutely the greatest. When you got a family or something, you know what I'm saying? Like kids and stuff. Dude, the dog was like a Frisbee dog. But, you know, he was awesome. All my Samoyeds have been absolutely great.
So what do they use them for?
A lot of times they're an Arctic wolf, actually.
Yeah, but what's their purpose as a pet? Just a pet?
Well, I never understood necessarily the purpose of a pet other than just a member of the family. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, we actually, as a working dog, they're actually a sled dog.
Oh, okay.
Right. They're actually, used to, because they're hyper dense. They're not a huge dog.
Yeah.
They're not as big as Malamutes or something like that, but they're a very cold weather dog.
Yeah,
When
they're
kind
of smaller than a border collie even, but they're
yeah,
real.
the males are 55, females are about 75.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But when it's winter, he wouldn't want to be in the house. The pool would freeze over. He'd clear off the snow and sleep directly on the ice. Yeah. And he couldn't get him to come in for nothing. You know?
Well, they probably don't like the heat, though.
Yeah, he had a little difficult time. We would do a trim on him in the summertime and bring him down to about an inch of hair in the summertime just to give him some break from the heat. You know what I'm saying? But what I found out is it's better not to cut him at all, to trim him down at all, because the hair will also keep out the heat as well as keep out the cold.
Yeah, hair doesn't necessarily just keep you warm. It can keep you cool too. Actually, I like my hair a little longer in the summer myself.
I'm not ignoring y'all. I just figured nobody wants to hear me brush my teeth, so I'll be back on here in a minute.
Right.
Yeah, no, I when my hair is a little longer in the summer, it kind of keeps the moisture, keeps it from, at least where I live. Maybe where you live, because it's more humid, is different, but it cools you. When your hair's longer, it cools you. If your sweat is in it, you know.
Right. Carpenter's like he couldn't get his gun out to clean his gun because his dog would get excited. Take hours for him to calm it down. Where'd Deb? Where would you go, Battery?
Oh, battery left. Wow.
Yeah, he was having a conversation with his wife, so I muted him. So I
Yeah.
hope he didn't get upset. I was like, oh, no, here he is. Hey, Battery.
I don't know what's going on there, but I lost everything. It's back, as you can see. It's still hot. It's not as hot as yesterday. We're about 20 degrees cooler in here.
Well, it's those hot days you need to be active outside on, and then when it's cool, when it's not so hot, it's actually cool to you. Yeah, that's like today. It got up to like 88 outside, 89.
I'm about ready to go outside and water.
Yeah, high humidity. So I was out there working.
I was talking about one of my peppers yesterday. Looked
Yeah.
like it was about to die. Well, it almost looks dead today. I checked it; it was almost out of water.
Oh, wow.
Yay! I put water in all of them at the same time, and apparently that one drank a lot. I don't know if it's going to survive.
So here's something for y'all. The little town I live in, we got a notice in the mail that our energy rate is gonna go up, and it's gonna jump up about 30%.
Oh, shit.
Pretty significantly.
Yeah.
The thing is, we have one of the larger, actually within about 20 miles, we have two of the larger wind farms. And around my town now, you can drive 5 miles each direction, and there's all these construction sites going on everywhere. They're basically surrounding this little town with the new windmills going in, and our rate is going to go up 30%. Explain that to me.
Well, they got to pay for that garbage.
That and none of that power goes to us. Ours, it all goes to the Front Range, gets shipped out from there, and then even if it does come to us, it goes to the Front Range and then gets sent back.
It's some of the most inefficient energy production that you can get.
The most inefficient use. They ought to just, people in line should be able to use it instead of sending it to a distribution center, 100 miles away and then bring it back.
If they would just make a nuclear power plant, they wouldn't have to put up all them windmills, and the energy would be clean.
Yeah, I agree.
You ever seen the landfills in Wyoming that they put all those old blades and stuff in? These things are
put blades there.
these things are like 200-acre landfills. They can't dispose of the blades. They're fiberglass and wood wrapped fiberglass, or fiberglass are wrapped around wood in a lot of places, and they really don't have a way to recycle them. So, well, these they're not. They're just burying them.
Wow.
They don't have a way to recycle it. Just like they don't have a way to recycle solar.
Yep. Look up Wyoming's wind generator graveyard or something like that, or landfills, Wyoming wind generators or wind turbines. It'll come up with all sorts of stuff showing you the pictures. The locals are ticked. They're not happy about it.
Where at in Wyoming?
I think Casper, north of Casper.
Oh, that's why I haven't heard about it.
Is the first 200-acre one. It's the bigger one, and that's the first one they started doing.
My place is over by Cheyenne.
Yeah, straight up, look it up. You will find it, and it's legitimate. There's videos, people out there videoing it, and it's pretty sad.
I got an idea why they're putting it there. There's not a lot of people. There's 500,000 people in the whole state.
Yeah. That's why they turned us down on joining them. Eastern Colorado wanted to join them, and Fort Collins and Greeley would have gone too. Fort Collins and Greeley alone would have doubled Wyoming's population.
Hey, Canoes, what's up, brother? Where are you at now? Are you guys in Indiana yet?
That's what I love about Wyoming. It's quiet.
Canoes is on his way to Emerald City.
Nice.
Cool.
Are you going to live stream that?
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of live streaming coming from here. I guarantee you, Apex don't know what it's like to live without his phone.
I wish I could be there.
You know, I thought about buying land in Wyoming, but it's almost like sitting on top of a cannon that you don't know who's got the lighter.
Right.
I do not know what you mean.
Yellowstone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yellowstone is almost in Idaho. It's on the western side of the state.
The pyroclastic flow. Hell, the pyroclastic flow it would hit me
now,
here.
I got some facts for you about Yellowstone. It is the most active volcano on Earth. And because of the activity, it will not blow.
What?
The activity is what's keeping it from blowing up.
The activity, yes, but the caldera itself has grown into all the porous regions. So the caldera itself that supports Yellowstone is pretty well crammed into what it can fit into. And Yellowstone actually, within the past 20 years, has 4 inches more increase and 4 inches more decrease on the rise and settle. And it's I think it's what 5,000 years overdue. So yeah. I'm not saying it's going to erupt. I'm just saying to say that it won't is taking a risk.
As long as it's active, we're safe. It's when that activity stops that you need to worry.
But all the lava flow is underground. That's
yes,
the nerve-wracking part.
That's the
Once
thing.
It runs out of places to go.
That's the thing. When the activity stops, the pressure is going to build.
Yeah. Well, it is building though. Battery.
Yeah. Over the last 40 years, there's been 18 feet of rise on that floor.
Yeah, that was the alarm that went off. That a guy that was studying it, and he said,
I know. Reliable was unreliable for a while. It does that occasionally.
What were you saying, Bill?
I was just saying there's a bulge under Yellowstone Lake that's been growing.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that?
There's also the theory that it's not going to be an explosive this time eruption because, well, the mountain is gone.
Yeah.
And this time it will be a building event. This time that it erupts, it'll be a building event.
Kind of like Greenland. Like Greenland.
Yeah.
Greenland,
Yeah.
that didn't
That's
start
pretty much
as
what it would be.
Greenland didn't start as a volcano. I mean, it built right out in the middle of the ocean.
It was. Oh, you talking about the
whole island? Yeah.
Okay. I thought you talked about the most recent eruption.
I am. The most recent eruptions in Greenland, it was a new part off of Greenland where they had an eruption, and it's been growing like the past 10 years or so. I think 10 years.
Wasn't it
I'm
just
not
south of
100% certain.
Michigan?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, shoot.
It was cool looking.
I'm not 100% certain how I kicked myself off that time. I just somehow went to the Google homepage.
I don't know. You know, every time we start thinking that these scientists have got it figured out, we find out they're wrong.
Yeah.
Or we find out that they're purposely misleading us.
But even in Hollywood, they realized that what I had just said, pressure will build if the activity stops.
That I agree with, but the caldera itself, the pressure is building. The lower caldera, there's no more room for it to flow.
There's always been pressure release, and as long as we still have that pressure release, it's not going to blow. It might grow, but it's not
into cavernous areas underground.
Was that movie 12?
I never saw the movie. I wish I would have saw that movie.
Excellent movie.
I'll have to find it. I've got a paper you guys would like. It talks about, and it's saying that actually it'll probably be another 50,000 years before Yellowstone does erupt. But is what it talks about is when it does, there's actually the U.S. sits on the three largest, what would be considered super volcanoes. Most of them are calderas when you consider the fault lines of California, and then under New Mexico, and all the way, a part of it's under New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. And if Yellowstone erupted, it would actually tear apart the one down south and the one in California. And they talk about when it goes, it'll be a mess. But they do say it'll probably be about 50,000 years from now.
I read that the one in California, the caldera in Southern California, was bigger than Yellowstone.
It's massive. And actually the one in Nevada, Arizona, and partway in New Mexico is actually the biggest of all three of them. That's the crazy part. The U.S. sits on the three largest active supervolcanoes in the world.
That's not good.
Nope. And I think there's 5 or 7 total, and 2 of them are underwater, and the others, there would have to be 7 because 3 are here, 2 are underwater, 1 is in Asia, and then 1 is like in Siberia or something like that.
Well, Battery, you're in broad daylight there. You still got daylight. I've been in the dark for an hour here.
Well, the sun's gone.
Still got a little bit.
The Yellowstone caldera is probably around 100 to maybe 250 miles. It's pretty big.
No, 500 is what I saw.
Huh?
I saw 500 miles.
Okay, so I was a little off.
Encompassing land area, it's not as big as California Or
No.
God, I can't remember what it's a something basin is the one in the south. But the depth of Yellowstone is what makes it so dangerous, that when it goes and empties out, there's so much depth there. There's actually more molten material in Yellowstone, according to this paper that I read.
Because of the size of Yellowstone, is used in a lot of disaster movies.
That too, but the square miles, Yellowstone is actually smaller. It's just the depth. So if you talk about cubic miles or whatever, Yellowstone would be the biggest.
You know, I think Battery would be okay over there if Yellowstone went off. Because all that big ash cloud and everything is all going to go toward Blizzard.
You don't think it would come to
Well,
Oregon?
the problem with where Battery lives is that he lives along the Shasta mountain range,
Yeah.
and
No.
that'll unzip if
That's California.
Yeah, but that volcanic range, it's down there. Mount Shasta goes all the way up into Canada.
shit, it goes all the way up to Alaska.
I'm next to the Cascades.
Yeah, you got volcanoes all over the place over there in Oregon.
Yeah, I know. We got one here in Portland.
Here's the crazy part. If you look on that map, where I'm at now, I would get hit by the pyroclastic flow. If I moved an hour, if I'm right on the edge of it, of that belly that comes down, if I moved an hour south, I would barely even get hit by the ash because of the jet stream that would take it east.
Portland is the only city that has a volcano inside.
LA.
Other cities are built at the base of volcanoes, but Portland has one inside the city.
Well, LA has one.
That was a movie.
Well, I'm guessing a volcano could pop up anywhere it damn well wants to.
Right? That's what I was just thinking.
It might come out of your toilet. You never know.
If we're discussing active calderas, LA does have one.
Not that I know.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the La Brea tar pit?
The veins coming off of the what is that one that basically cuts California in half? The
San Andreas Fault.
San Andreas, thank you. The veins off the San Andreas go right under LA and even out partway into underneath the ocean.
It doesn't quite go through LA, does it?
Well, like the burbs. It kind of circles around them, basically would take out the suburbs.
I used to live down there, and we had earthquakes all the time.
Well, I think the volcano's going to come up out of Maxine Waters' toilet. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a super boomer.
And this is to Twitch so they don't get mad at me for spreading false information. I'm not claiming to be a professional, just stuff I read.
Oh, shoot.
That way Twitch doesn't get mad at us and shut it down.
But yeah.
Is my microphone messing up?
Fire in the bowl.
Oh, shit. Dallas thinks
Fire
he's
what?
Bold.
Fire in the bowl.
Fire in the bowl?
What?
Fire in the bowl.
Bowl.
You what?
Bowl.
Bowl.
Fire.
Brought to you by Sausage Gravy Biscuit Farms.com. .com. You feel old. Wait till you're 55.
Wait until when you sit down, you start making a weird sound that you've never made before in your life. Then you're getting old.
Wait till old arthritis kick in. Arthritis.
That grunt with a sigh of relief when you sit down. That's when I figured I was getting old.
Yeah. Dallas is going to hit like 35 and he'll be walking with a cane and a walker.
Right.
No teeth. Old hunchback. Dallas, don't talk like that.
Hey guys, I really should crash. I hate the jet. It's been a fun conversation tonight, but we'll catch you all tomorrow.
You got it, brother. You have a good one, man. Dream well, Patriot. We'll see you tomorrow.
You. Be well.
Thanks for coming up. Thanks.
Wow, I can't believe all the daylight you got over there.
I know, right? It's like 11 o'clock at night here.
It's 20:59.
Yeah.
10 o'clock here.
I mean 2200.
It's 2200 over here. 21:59 to be exact.
It's 2300 here. Give you 50 seconds.
I tried that on my wife, and she said, "I'm used to that. Her country only uses 24-hour clock."
Yep. Same way over in Germany.
Doing my recycling.
Germany's the same way, huh, Wiz?
Yeah, it is.
Right. Yep. Leipzig.
All you do is look at the bus schedule. It's all military time. Or 24-hour clock.
Gleis 5.
Hey, Wizard.
Ah.
When you were in Germany, did you have taxis? Two different types of taxis. One that went by distance and one that went by time.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, you get in the I made a habit. I was in a rush. I got in the taxi, went by distance, and I said, "Schnell."
Oh yeah, they'll haul ass, man. I don't give a damn. They'll haul ass. And all
Tires.
they care about is that meter. All they care about is that meter, man.
Yep.
Mach schnell.
Of course, we were just going back to base, drunk as fuck. I never really paid attention to it.
I did that when I had to get back to the base because they had a curfew.
Right.
We had just bombed Libya, so they imposed a curfew. The first night of the curfew, I didn't make it back. Spent the night in the streets. But the second time, I made sure I could. I hit that taxi. I said, "Schnell."
Right.
I remember doing some shit. I think one time there was a German formation, and I yelled, "Achtung, nimm kaputt!" I kind of hid my face so they wouldn't see who it came from. I go, "Achtung, nimm kaputt!"
It's funny. We know what nincompoop means here.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that's one show I never saw in Germany. Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah. Klink, you Dummkopf!
Try to God.
Klink!
But yeah, there's
My post was on a Superfund site. We had a guy that was being kicked out of the Army, and he was one of the fuelers. So he took the fuel truck out there and dumped it. They got a field that's just so contaminated with JP4, and nothing grows.
I remember a dump that we had over in Grafenveer, and we went to the dump. We had to dump something. I can't remember what it was. And I got into this big garbage pile, and there were cans of unspent CS gas.
Holy crap. Did you take it?
I'm like, how do I light these?
That would explain the experience I had.
Oh my gosh, my eyes were burning just being around that shit.
oh yeah.
Tons of empty cans of CS gas that had been burnt, but some were not burnt.
Yeah.
And the whole dump was like your eyes just burnt bad, like just like you were just coming out of the gas chamber.
I was at a club called the Ofenrohr in Nuremberg. It was kind of downstairs. It was kind of like a cave. The place was nice. Well, somebody brought in a can of CS and let it off in the men's room. I was so pissed. I had to pee so bad. I said, I can take it. I went in there and I did my job.
Well, you need a trophy for taking
not coming out of my nose.
Gas. If you can take a week while you're exposed to CS gas, you deserve a trophy.
Hey, we used to go through the chamber a lot. Anytime they wanted to torture us, they decided to send us through the chamber.
Shit, they'd throw that shit at us on the road march. We'd be out on a freaking 50-mile road march or 20-mile road march, and they'd throw CS gas at us.
They did that in Alabama on us.
Just to get us, well, okay, the era where we were and everything, because we thought we were going to go to war in a biochemical warfare situation. So our training was constantly with, put your gear, road marches and mop gear and steel pot and your M16 and your freaking gas mask on your face. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 15-mile road march that we went on. We were getting ambushed along the way. And as the time flew by, the ambushes got kind of weird. They were ambushing us with M60s. And the 60s kept jamming. You hear a click, bang, click, 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 bang,
Yeah.
click, 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 click. It was funny.
Actually, you get good training on an M60, it'll never jam on you. Never.
They didn't oil them.
Yeah. But sometimes, they don't get it. They don't get the first link in just right, or they forget to put the empty link in first to start it. Just things that soldiers just forget, because they don't.
It was the same one.
Huh?
So as the night went by, they were getting drier and drier.
Yeah, I remember.
We didn't have anything to shoot back.
We had to learn to completely disassemble them and reassemble them blindfolded. We're in a pitch black.
I couldn't do an M60 that way, but I did get some training on it. I can do it with an M16. I can't remember what it was called. I had some whiskey tonight.
The Air Force is a lot different than it used to be. Their training is getting a lot more hardcore.
Compared to the Army? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Army's becoming a bunch of social justice warrior sisters.
Same thing with the Marines.
Oh dear God, we're doomed.
We're doomed. We're doomed.
Pray we never get into a war.
If the potato stays in there, we're screwed. Yep.
Pray we can get into a war. You know, with a Democrat, there's a pretty good chance we will.
Well,
I don't understand why the left calls the Republicans warmongers when it's their side that gets us into wars.
every time.
You ask them who got it, what party got us into Vietnam? They'll claim the Republicans. Is Kennedy a Republican?
By today's
No,
standard, would be.
He didn't start the conflict, but he escalated.
I think if he was alive today, that he would switch parties.
I do too, because the people that voted for him, my parents, were called neocons.
Yeah. Yeah, they would be calling Kennedy supporters all kinds of names right now. If there were Kennedy supporters, let's say
they'd be calling them Nazis now.
Yeah.
They love that word.
Well, the new Democrats don't like the old Democrats either.
That's right. I'm not a Democrat. I have switched parties. I did not leave them. They left me. But I've always been a conservative.
I have not always been a conservative. I've never been a centrist. I never aligned myself with any political party other than the American Party.
I used to be in the Democrat caucus.
And I thought I was a libertarian for a while. But then when I saw the Tea Party and all that crap, I just bailed on the libertarians. Because
the last time what sent me away, we had somebody come in. Oh, you know that Jesse Jackson? I so love him. I'm gonna vote for him. I'm like,
oh my gosh,
that
they were licking his boots, weren't they? Bunch of bootlickers.
Do you know anything about him?
My sister met him on a plane. She was working for Delta Airlines, and she met Jesse Jackson.
Okay. I was trying to figure out how you meet him.
No, she was working for Delta Airlines, and she used to be able to go anywhere she wanted on her plane, and met Jesse Jackson somewhere and on the plane, sitting not far from him. She got pictures of herself standing with him. He had his arm around her, the whole thing.
I lived next to actually about 5 miles from a Delta Airlines pilot. Did some work for him. But he was close to retirement at that time, so I'm pretty sure he's retired now. It's been about 25 years.
Yeah.
And my roommate over in Germany, he became a pilot for him too.
But she could get us a flight anywhere on a buddy pass.
Yeah, I know how to. He told me I could have got flights with him too. Well, my neighbors.
Now she doesn't work for him anymore, and I'm like, I remember when you worked for Delta Airlines and you never flew me and kept promising me you would. I just didn't have time. Freaking arguing bullshit. Well, anyway, Jesse Jackson, he's the one that actually started the Rainbow Coalition. If you're talking battery, I can't hear you at all. You're cutting out. You're cutting out.
Well, it's 72 degrees here.
Oh, you know how huge China is, Huckleberry? What part of China would you bomb? I mean, you could bomb 4 of the biggest cities in China and there'd still be billions of them.
Censor.
Obama's face.
You big military centers, yeah.
Well, that's another thing that was in the news not too long ago about Xi Jinping. I think it was him or it was the CCP. I don't know which is which, but said that they're lifting the ban on how many children you can have, and they're wanting people to have more kids now in China. They're pushing to start increasing their population in China. Why would that be? I'm talking to myself.
No, yeah, I have no idea though.
I'm talking to the chat, kind of. I'm talking to Huckleberry and Miriam. Tanya's in the chat. Tanya.
Yeah, they don't have much of a female population.
No, they killed them off.
Yeah.
And there's Zoom. Hello, Zoom. Weather 1991. Hello, Tim. Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole.
Right? Well, I'll tell you what, man.
China asshole.
Right? Oh, you know what? You know what time it is? What time is it?
Pie.
It's time for pie.
That is a funny meme. Donald Trump, don't trust China. China is asshole. I think
I
that
don't
was
know this 2 nights in a row, but I'm having peach pie again tonight.
peach pie. I miss my grandmother's strawberry rhubarb pie.
I was thinking about this the other night. Why can't you do plum pie? I've never had a plum pie.
Because it's basically prunes.
Okay. But plum pie would be good as hell.
You like a prune pie? Prune pie for you.
Yeah. What's wrong with prunes?
Nothing unless you got, if you're constipated or something, I guess prune pie would be great.
All right.
See, Tanya knows. Strawberry rhubarb pie.
Yeah.
Oh, that warms my cockles. It is so good. Oh my gosh. So good.
Oh yeah.
Warm with a scoop of ice cream on it.
Yeah.
A la mode.
Peach pie.
Peach pie, yep.
Oh my Lord.
I like peach strudel. You ever had that?
Oh yeah.
Well, straight rhubarb pie may not be that great. I don't know. Usually they'll do it with strawberries and rhubarb together.
I think it's because the rhubarb gives it the jelly. Gives it the consistency for the pie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like it's pudding-like kind of in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, Tanya says plum pie she thinks is British.
Yeah.
Sounds like a freaking Englishman thing. Sorry, I'm not British. I kind of like the sourness of rhubarb, though. I mean, I used to eat rhubarb stalks. I used to mow rhubarb. I'd mow right over it, and it would just grow back. It was like a weed.
Yeah, it's an invasive.
Well, my radishes, man, they sure started fast. They germinated really quick, and they're growing. They're getting big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I started getting mushrooms growing up in my mulch.
Yeah. But those ain't the mushrooms you want to eat.
Nope.
No, the ones that are blooming this time of year are angels of death.
Probably. I washed my hands after touching them.
Yep.
They did look bad. They looked evil.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with those.
Now, I like blackberry pie. I just like plain old blackberry pie.
No, blackberry cobbler.
And blackberry raspberry pie. And
Blackberry
boysenberry.
cobbler. Oh my gosh.
If I had all that land out there, I'd be growing boysenberries and blackberries and raspberries and red raspberries and everything you could think of.
Dude, out here, the raspberries and the blackberries grow endlessly.
Like
We've got
weeds.
fields, all the undergrowth, 90% of the undergrowth is raspberries and blackberries.
See, if I was over there, I'd just sit in the raspberry bush all day. Come out red. Yeah, I'm that bad. I love raspberries that much.
Well, Daniel, one of the other guy that's here, putting the camp in. He turned around and went around and cleared all the brush out from around the raspberry and blackberry plants. Tied up the black raspberries, tied them together so that they would make a stand, kind of thing, and cleared all the weeds and other plants around them. And the only thing he really left was the blackberries, raspberries, peach trees, and sassafras. Peach and sassafras trees. He left those.
Oh.
So, yeah. He did a good job, man. But we've had a lot of dry weather for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So the raspberries that are coming in aren't getting that big.
Oh.
So kind of worried about that.
Well, Zoom says he likes blueberry vape, I think.
Yeah.
And I had a really good vape. It was called peanut butter cookie vape. And it was so good. Oh my gosh. It tasted just like peanut butter cookies. But then you get tired of it after a while. You got to switch it up.
Right. But we're getting a shit ton of rain this week.
It's nicotine vape is what it is, Huckleberry.
Yeah.
That's how I got off.
I have to grab Dottie one more time tomorrow and set her in with Ricky. And then we're good. Next week, we'll be looking at Get from Honey, a letter from Honey. And then it'll start. The birth cycles will happen every week for the next 4 weeks. So,
How many times a year can you breed them?
you could every 90 days without stressing them out.
Okay.
So you could do it 4 times a year.
Oh, good.
I don't do it during the winter because, well, babies that don't get the heat die. So
Yeah.
So you have a tendency to lose the litter in the wintertime. So my last birth month should be November. And so they'll be, before it gets really cold in January, they need to be at least 4 weeks. So they're a month old and they'll be fine for winter.
Yeah.
And then you can start back up again in February. So,
Nice. What colors their fur look like?
well, this batch, I've got a brindle, and I've got a cinnamon. Well, the buck is a brindle, and Honey is a cinnamon. Gracie is a gray. She's a Flemish giant gray. Dottie and Oreo are a New Zealand Flemish giant mix, and they're white with gray spots, and Oreo has black spots with black ears.
So, as far as using them for fur,
Oh yeah, keeping the pelts. Yeah,
yeah, having a variety.
yep. My other buck is a pure black. So once he's just now coming of age, so the next cycle he can take on a couple of the dames. You know what I'm saying?
I like the red color furs for stuff, for things that I do, because yeah, I got more of a use for the red ones.
But I'm of the mind I won't. When I get some money together, I want to go and buy a pure white, purebred Flemish giant. I mean, these are 25, 30 pound bucks. You know what I'm saying? They're like $75 to get one, 50 to $75. And but we're talking about an 18 to 20 pound rabbit when they're 6 months old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now, these rabbits, when they get 6 months, they're about 12 to 14 pounds. Now, they will get bigger, but yeah, they're not that big. They're not as big as they could be. So, but you know, they're still a healthy, good sized rabbit at 6 months. You know, you're still pulling off about 7 to 8 pounds of meat off the rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Each rabbit.
I actually like rabbit better than chicken. I would rather eat rabbit than chicken.
Well,
Rabbit is good. My mouth waters thinking about it right now.
if it's cooked properly, hell yeah. Oh man. But it's very much like if it's fried, very much like rabbit. You just have to soak it in milk the night before to break it down. Yep. You soak it in milk the night before and break it down.
I got to go water, guys.
All right.
I'm going to take this down, then I'm going to come back and water.
All right. Well, we're going to be calling it here in a little bit. So,
Really? It's still daylight here.
well, that's you. Right. Oh, man.
That's kind of like Alaska. Alaska, they have 24-hour sun in the summer.
Right.
And they have 24-hour light in the winter because of the aurora borealis.
Well, right. But yeah, you get above the Arctic Circle, and yeah, it'll be.
We get the aurora borealis in the mountains down here. You can see them here and in Colorado. And I was up in I haven't seen them down in the valley, but way up in the mountains and way out in the desert where there's no other lights around, you can see them off in the north, the aurora borealis. Up in Idaho, I could see them really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not, well, but they're way more profound in Alaska, of course. They're a lot more profound up there. I mean, they're just unbelievably beautiful. Ribbons are just beautiful colors. So we were talking one time about lightning flashes off in the distance that a lot of times I could see, and I think they called them something angels. I can't remember. But they've got pictures of green lightning in the upper atmosphere. And there's a lot of green in the aurora borealis too. There's green.
I'm familiar with what they call blue darts.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've only seen pictures of them. I've never seen the actual green ones. I've seen the flashes way off in the distance, and they're high atmospheric flashes and stuff.
Right. From what I understand, those are small meteorites that explode when they hit the atmosphere. A lot of them.
Yeah, there's some that are called something angels, and they're like they happen in the desert. You could see them in the desert, and sometimes in the way up in the mountains. They're just flashes of light way off in the distance. It looks like maybe explosions or something, but they're called something angels. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas, grab a link. Come on up. Say hi. Say happy birthday to your ass.
Dallas. Dallas, you're not old. Wait till you are old, and then you'll look back and go, why did I think I was old when I wasn't?
Right?
Because now I really am old and nobody believes me.
Dude, when I was a kid, people in their late 40s were fucking old. I mean, they were walking around with walkers and canes and shit.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that, especially up at the VA. There's some vets up there that live some hard ass lives, man. And then again, I see people out here that are like in their 70s that are jogging every day.
Yeah, it's like, and they're not even fully gray.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of joggers, a lot of walkers, people walking, trying to stay in shape and stuff.
Well, when I was a kid, when we were kids, people were dying most of the time before they were 70.
Yeah, because everybody smoked. That's part of it.
Well, that, and they had hard lives. They worked hard jobs, and they exposed themselves to bad situations a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people in their 40s with COPD and stuff, and they never smoked a day in their life because they were in that asbestos and everything. People people like me that exposed to a lot of lead dust because of my occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was exposed to a lot of lead dust. It's just off of those old houses that had the lead-based.
Well, we tried to stop you from eating that paint chips.
They're actually sweet. I've tasted them. They are sweet. That's why so many kids ate lead paint chips.
It tastes like sugar.
Yeah, they're sweet. And the older they are, the sweeter they are.
Oh, wow. Never ate paint chips.
But you think crayons are good? Try paint chips. They're even better. Lead paint chips. No, and then there's, like when you're sanding body filler and stuff like that, and fiberglass, it's got kind of a sweet smell to it too. But while that catalyst, while your fiberglass is starting to kick off, oh my gosh, it's putting out PCBs, and it's going to your brain.
Right.
Yeah, when you're doing fiberglass work. All these guys in my shop were divorced. And they were all like heavy drinkers and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a fiberglass company I worked for. That's where I was in Idaho when I saw the Aurora Borealis. I was on the end of a crane setting some big mixer domes for agriculture company up in Idaho. And I saw the Aurora Borealis while I was up on top of the crane. And that same job I was working on, that was the one that I ran down a hill and scarred the shit out of my face when I tripped over a tumbleweed when I was drunk. Oh yeah. And I thought, oh man, I'm gonna look like a monster. I had this big, huge scab on my face and everything. Big gaping wound on my face. I can hang,
Right.
Fell right in the middle of the street. Did a nose grind in the middle of the street when I tripped over that tumbleweed. I couldn't stop. I was running down that hill, and I was shit faced and freaking just tripped over a tumbleweed and flew out in the middle of the street. Good thing no cars.
Good night, Tanya. Sweet dreams.
Good thing no cars came by. I could have made me into a freaking tortilla.
Good night, Tanya. Dream well, Patriot.
Good night, Tanya.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. I was kind of hoping to wait for Apex and Canoes and Jimmy to get to Indiana, but I think it's just gonna be too late because I'm falling out. Dude. I'm really exhausted. I've been sweating my ass off today. But yeah, I'm exhausted. Man.
Yep. Valentine White's going to sleep. Good night.
Good night, Valentine. Dream well, Patriot. God bless you all. Thank you all for being part of the show, part of chat, participating with us here. It's been awesome. Had a great night. I really enjoyed our conversations this evening. Happy birthday, Dallas.
Happy birthday, Dallas.
Well, I got another long day tomorrow if the rain lets me do it. So, rain stays away, I can get a lot of shit done. So, I got a lot of shit to do. Because
You want some
got
sunshine?
this evening, tomorrow evening we'll be setting up camp. So, I don't know if I'm going to be on early anyway. I'm sure Apex will be streaming before I am. Once they get here and get camp set up, he'll be streaming. Check it out, guys. So, we will see you tomorrow night. Dream well, Patriots, because we are winning.
You too, man.
And I will see you tomorrow night. Good night.
Good night.